Greetings, you, the DFG here, Gideon's Flight. Hey guys, I just want to take a little time today in October 26th. But I just want to take some time today again to reemphasize the importance of we, Israel, understanding that we, Israel, are causing a lot of the issues and problems we, Israel, are facing. And, and when there is problems or continual problems with an individual, as with a nation, then there's a time that you should go back and you should start to look for root causes so that you can hopefully identify what is the root of those problems. If you look at your personal life and you just continue to not seem to get ahead, or you continue to be confronted with just one negative situation after another negative situation. Unless you're very simple-minded, you're going to take some time to recess, evaluate, and hopefully, re-strategize and focus on doing something different to improve your situation. Now, Israel as a nation, as many of us as a people, persons, have failed to do this thing, has just totally, neglected the importance of not only reflecting on something, but looking for the root cause of why is this happening? Why do I continually struggle in my personal life, professional life, in my spiritual life? Why? And I think the spiritual life, I want to take just a quick extra couple of seconds and emphasize that, because when I say spiritual life, a lot of you conclude that I'm talking about religion. I'm not talking about your religion. You shouldn't have one. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the way you think, the way you process things, the way you respond to things. Your spiritual life, your inner self. And so often, and it's going to sound a little preachy, I get it. But I'm not trying to be preachy. I'm hopefully trying to be, my intention, not hopefully, my intent is to be helpful. But we it's kind of like what comes to my mind is this I don't know, metaphor, for lack of a better word. It's like a bat going through hell. You know what I'm saying? There's no time being taken to walk back behavior, to try to fix some of the challenges that you're facing, because you just refuse to take responsibility for it. And that's where we are today as Israel. We're sitting at the bottom of everything, facing the worst time in the history of mankind that is to come. We are in what our book says, days that were worse than the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, which if you go back and read Joshua or Genesis, you can find there was some wicked things going on back then. Our book says we're in a time that was worse than the days of Noah. Again, you can read the book of Genesis, the book of Enoch, the book of Joshua, Jubilees, and you will begin to see real quick just how wicked those times were. And our book is telling us the days that we're in today will be far worse than those times. So not only are we compounded as a people with all of these challenges, we still, as a nation of people, refuse to take time for reflection to understand why this is happening to us. And therefore, we continue to move. Not all of us, many of our people. Not all of us, many of our people. Not all of us, but many of our people are living the metaphor, the parable, the analogy of, insanity. In essence, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome. It's not going to happen. Except we step back and reflect on what is causing, or what are the root causes of what you're doing. You can forget about your life getting any better. And for some of you, you can forget about entering to the new heaven, or participating in the new heaven and the new earth, which is to come. When Elohim burned this place down, and he will, according to his word, he's going to destroy the earth by fire. Going to burn it down. And many of our people are going to get burned down right along with it. We talked about this recently when we were looking at the chapter 13 in the book of Zechariah. Eyes melting in their sockets, tongue melting in their mouths, skin, just, burning on their bodies. Fire. And that's what's going to happen to many of our people. So when Yah take his vengeance on the heathens, the other nations, many of our people are going to be judged right along with them, because they have refused to take time to evaluate what's going on around them, inside of their personal life, inside of their homes, inside of their relationships. Assessing their walk before Elohim, as though the eyes of Elohim go not around the entire earth, looking and watching, in writing, I might add, your transgressions, our transgressions, when there is no repentance in our lives. Simply stated, the definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over and over again. Simply means there is no repentance. In other words, there's no change of heart. In other words, you're like the pig, or some of us live like the pig who loves the mud, or the dog who regurgitates its food and then digests that same regurgitated food over again. The dog goes back to the vomit. The pig goes back to the mud. And I bring this forward this morning to you, my brothers and my sisters, out of respect and out of love, a love for the truth, so that maybe that truth will be embraced by some of us, some of you, maybe some of those that you love, to bring about the proper change in your life. If you feel that change is necessary. Again, if you're not the dog and you're enjoying your vomit, or if you're not the dog and you're enjoying, let's just say, this diabolical society that we live in, or if you're not a pig, racist, all of this, wickedness around us. Picking up lifestyles, embracing lifestyles that are contrary to the word. In other words, lifestyles that Elohim says are an abomination to a people. A lifestyle that Elohim said are the heathen's lifestyle. Which brings me back to the beginning of this message. These evil days, celebration days, so-called holidays, holly, which means witchcraft, Hollywood, holidays, it means sorcery, that many of our people are going to be embracing over the next 2 or 3 months. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, Easter. All of them wicked holidays, all of them set in place by the rulers of the darkness of this world who take their orders from Lucifer. And knowing that the more of our people who do this stuff, the more strength they get to hold our people down, destroy our people, to sustain their own selves and their kind. So they live, or their best life is when we have no life. And when we have no life, in other words, no guidance, we become low life. Low life, the despicable of the earth, the detestable of the earth. In their eyes, unfortunately, but more importantly, in the eyes of Elohim. Again, 5 days, they're going to be embracing Halloween. And you have to step back and ask yourself the question, why? Why would a people chosen as the light of this world intentionally embrace the darkness of this world?
Call from M-I-C-H-E-L-L-E.
It's a question that we have to ask. Why would the light of the world want to embrace the darkness of this world? Could it be because of the deception of this world? I beg to differ. I don't think it is that. I think they love evil more than they love good. And therefore, they'll go out of their way to embrace what they love. People do what they want to do. I mean, we can play it off or they just ignorant. They don't know no better. That's why they're doing this. No. What kind of fool you have to be if you're a believer in Elohim to know that is unworthy of yourself and an act of hatred before the Creator when you embrace wickedness, witches, warlocks, devils, demons, spooks, ghosts, hiding, covering. If you look at it with a clarity of thought, you'd have to ask yourself, first of all, you have to acknowledge that this whole Halloween thing origins are about as evil as it could possibly be. It's everything about it is evil. The dead, the ghouls, the goblins, all of it is wicked. Evil, just evil. Damnationable evil. Hellfire evil. But you say, Elohim doesn't care. You DFG, some of you may be saying you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Well, you're entitled to that, to saying that. But what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? Have you taken any time to consider that maybe the life that you're living, the issues that you're challenged with, the constant frustration that you're living with, the constant attack that you're under, what if it was because of these type of behaviors? What is it? What would it mean to you to find out that a lot of these things Elohim is allowing to happen to you is because you're participating in things that he said that we as a people were not allowed to participate in, and that these things that he hates, and he hates anyone who's involved in it. And that is the reason why he is judging your life and allowing your life to continue to be in the cycle of deterioration, the cycle of misery, the cycle of lost the cycle of homelessness, abandonment, literally and spiritually, divisiveness, bitterness, the murder spirit inside of you, the insanity that many of our people are dealing with. And I'm talking about real insanity. I mean, just so miserable that many of them would happily blow their brains out if they had just a little bit more courage to face what's going to come after that. What if all this stuff is going on because we have refused to separate ourselves from some of these damnable days that many of us are about to embrace again and teach our children to embrace them? And in doing so, our children will be dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with, and many of you are dealing with the same things your parents were dealing with. Because your parents didn't change, therefore you learn the wickedness of your parents. And because you wouldn't change, your children are now learning your wickedness. I'm talking about wickedness before the eyes of Elohim. And they're going to teach their children. So now you got 3 generations. You're teaching your child what your parents taught you. 3 generations. You realize that your child's going to teach their children, who's going to teach their children, another 3 generations if Elohim tarries. I'm talking about if the fire don't come soon. And we have every reason to think the fire is coming soon because, you know, we were warned that there will be signs of the times. We were warned there will be mandates in these days that said you could not buy or you could not sell, that you would have no peace, that you would be imprisoned. Some of you would be killed because you did not accept the control that the mandate is signaling that you must accept if you want to have any sense of what they would consider normacy. They consider normacy homosexuality, killing of children, sex trafficking, human trafficking, whoredom, debauchery, filth. You can fill in the rest. That's their idea of normacy. That's why the book called them dogs. That's why Elohim said all who are out the gate, all who are without the gate or on the outside of the gate are dogs. That's why Yeshua once mentioned that it's not right to give what is set aside for Israel to dogs, human dogs. He wasn't talking about no 4-legged dogs. That's why Ezekiel talked about their dumb dogs, dumb, greedy dogs who cannot bark, dumb, greedy dogs who never have enough. So you would think that we would look at the economy as it is today. A surplus gone. Basic foods drying up. The cost of living going to the point where if you're a middle class person, you're about to get stung. I'm talking, you're about to get a gut punch. You're about to get the wind knocked out of you. All of you middle class, you're under siege. All these things that are happening to you. And when so-called normalcy comes back, where are you going to be? All your resources are going to be gone because they're going to raise these prices so high you're not going to be able to sustain your families, your businesses. So you'll have nothing and you'll be happy with it. At least that's what they say. That's their plan. And for those of you who are already in poverty, as the useless eaters that you are in their eyesight, you're going to be exterminated. That's the plan. So you're going to be replaced by the middle class because they're a working class. They're going to replace you as the slave class, and you're going to be eliminated as classless, useless worms. I want you to find out whatever minute this is in this video, 1935 in this video, save it. Save it. Save it. Because it's going to come to pass. And when the time happens, I want you to come back to this video and say, he told us. He warned us. And you might say, well, DFG, okay, all right. What can we do about it? Is there something that could be done about it? Well, for the world, no. That's judgment coming for them. Elohim's vengeance is about to befall them for all of the evil and the wickedness they have done to Israel and what they have done to kill this earth, this flat earth. Elohim's going to judge them for that. But you, Israel, you have a chance. We as a people have a chance. Because as the book said, we were the apple of Elohim's eye. Some of us still are the apple of his eye, which means he loves us. But some of us don't love ourselves. And it's easy to identify those who don't love themselves because they chase the heathen's ways. They take the heathen's path, the broad path that leads to destruction. That's how you know who they are. He said you'll know them by their fruits. In other words, how they live, by the decisions they make. Do they repent? When they learn the truth, do they change and go in the way of the truth? Or do they just brush it off and continue in their lies, continue in their debauchery, continue to insult their Creator, to offend the Creator? That's how you know who they are. But for some, the book says there will be a repentance. Some will turn back. And I hope that if the description that I have given in terms of embracing these wickedness is something that you have done and been encouraged to do or taught to do, that you will stop. That you won't sell this to your children. You won't introduce this to your children. You will pull your children back and educate them on why they don't want to participate in that and why they aren't allowed to participate in that, because to allow them to participate in that is to destroy their souls. And you can't have that. See, that's the father's responsibility, and it's also the mother's responsibility as the trainers of the children. Book tells us, take heed that no man deceives you. Well, these holidays are there to deceive our people, to give our people a sense of inclusivism. Give our people a sense of participate, a sense of, we love you. We want you. We want you to enjoy the things we enjoy. This is what the heathens tell us. We want you to enjoy it too. We want y'all to participate. We want y'all to be engaged. We want to engage y'all. Just make sure you buy candy and costumes. Make sure you have parties, and make sure you buy what else? All the things that you have to do to participate in the very thing they just want you included in. Have you ever considered that this want is for your resources and not necessarily for you? And a lot of these people, I'm talking about the higher-ups, they know the truth. They know we're the people of the book. They know that Elohim is judging us. That's why they stolen everything from us about him and given us substitute lies like white Jesus, like religion, Christianity, to keep us separated from the Most High, from Elohim, to keep us in a position of rebellion. Because they know if we ever come from amongst them, as we were instructed to do, if we ever open our eyes to see their lies, they know it's over for them. They know it's the end for them. So we're prolonging their existence because we're participating in their wickedness. All of it. Their entertainment wickedness. I'm talking about from sports to the music industry. I'm talking about, again, these lifestyles. I'm damn sure talking about the so-called cure, you know what I'm saying, for the plague, which really is a death sentence for us. Just saying. They know that if we ever were to pull out, all that shit would crash and burn. They know. Literally crash and burn. I mean, spiritually crash and burn, literally crash and burn, and Yah will come and burn it down to save us. Because we would have showed him that we are ready for his return and we are ready to be restored into our rightful place as the royalty of the earth. And by the way, the earth would appreciate it. Because guess what? The earth is mourning. Your water, your birds, your trees, your animals. Because these demons, children of devils, evil spirits, are destroying everything. Because they know that was put on earth for us, not for them. That's what, you ever wonder why they destroy everything? They're always cutting down the trees and setting fires and polluting the waters and creating garbage by consumption. You know, buying more food than they could ever eat, but refuse to help someone on the street who may need a slice of bread or a sandwich. Because they know that this earth was put in play for Israel. And so they hate the earth. So they abuse it and they misuse it. They pollute our skies with chemtrails and other kind of poisons, aluminum, etc. They pollute our water, give it to our people to drink. They pollute our food and give it to our people to eat. They won't eat it. And even when they do eat some of the things that they encourage us to eat, it has no effect on them and it destroys us physically. And then also that corruption in that food goes right to our brains and then it kills us mentally. That way we have no cognitive ability to be able to properly analyze what's happening to us. And therefore we are insane, doing the same thing over and over and asking the question, why is this happening to me? But in terms of, again, this wickedness that we are embracing, this one to come in 5 days, let me share something with you with our book. One of our prophets has warned us about. Because again, far too many of you, you're letting these liars in your churches, these liars in your family, these liars in your social clubs to tell you, oh, none of this stuff, this is harmless. You can be a Christian. Of course you can be a Christian and do these things. You can be a believer and do these things. Of course the devils believe and tremble. They lie to you and tell you Elohim has no problem with that. Don't listen to the watchmen. Don't listen to the teachers of the book. And many of you were like, yeah, I agree. You're right. I agree with that. That works for me because I want to do this wickedness anyway. Oh, it's not that bad. However you rationalize. They don't, those of us who are participating, you don't call it wicked. You call it harmless. Well, can we stop for a moment now and see what Elohim calls it? And then hopefully, when you see what Elohim calls it, then you'll make the right call on it. The right call on it. In other words, you'll make the right decision about it. Praise God. Let's go. Let's turn your book, our history book. Turn the book to the book of Isaiah, one of our prophets, chapter 65. Here's how it reads. It says, I am. You know what I am? I am is I am. I am is in bold letters here. See if you can see where I'm pointing at. It starts that way. I am. Can you see that? Get right up there. 65. See, it starts I am. Means Elohim. When Moses asked Elohim what was his name, he said, tell them I am who I am sent you. Amen? He says, I am sought them that asked not for me. I found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. We're called Negroes, African Americans, black people, colored people, when truly we should be called Israelites. Israel. I have spread out my hands all day unto this rebellious people, who walked in the way that was not good, after their own thoughts. You know what that means? Justifying things that Elohim says that are unclean, and you're saying it's clean. You're letting the heathens tell you it's okay to celebrate these holidays. The book says, my people, who don't even know who the hell they are rebellious, and they walk after unclean things. He says, I spread my hands out. You know, spread my hands. He says, I tried to tell them not to do this. I tried to warn them not to do this. I tried to protect them from the dangers of this, but they won't listen. They are rebellious people, hard-headed, high-minded. Well, I can do what I want to do. Who are you to tell me what I can't do? It's my life, my decision. You're right. It is your life. You're right. You made that decision. But what you're wrong is there is going to be a consequence for it. That's where you're in error. You're not thinking about the consequence of it. You're looking at your lives, many of you, and you're wondering why your lives in such disarray, why your life is in such a disarray, so disorganized, so harsh, so hard, so uncomfortable. And you ask, why? Well, Elohim is telling you why. Because you're rebellious. Because you refuse to accept his grace, his kindness. His kindness comes in his direction. His direction is his protection. Ours as well. You can find it in the Torah. The laws, the statutes, and commandments. That's how he spreads his arms out to us. Like a hen spreads her arm around her chicks. To protect them from what? The weather, the predators, etc. That's what he's saying. But we won't listen, many of us. Even though we hear this truth. Even though men like myself bring you to the book and show you, here it is. You still say, non grata. I think I'm saying that right. I don't want it. It ain't for me. Might be for you, but it ain't for me. I don't see it that way. In other words, your own thoughts about it. Forget what Elohim said. When you do that, just so you know, when you say that's your opinion, when you see it in the book, that's your interpretation, when you see it in the book, what you're really telling Elohim is, I don't give a damn about what you say. I'm going to do what I want to do. You don't say it like that because you're not foolish enough. You may be a fool, but you ain't foolish enough to say it to him directly, because you know he'd probably kill your ass or destroy your children. He put some pain on you. So you won't say it to him directly. But that's what you're saying. When you say, I'm going to do it my way, I don't agree with that, that's what you're saying to him. I don't give a damn about what you say. Verse 2, I'm going to read it again. I have spread my hands out all day. That means continual. To a rebellious people, which walk in a way that was not good, meaning the ways of the heathens, their holidays, participating in them. Let me be clear. After their own thoughts. In other words, they're going to do what they want to do. They don't care what the truth is. If it don't fit, then then acquit me. In other words, I can be guilty of sin, but if it don't fit, then leave me alone. In other words, if I don't agree with it, if it don't feel right to me, then I ain't got to do it. I don't have to do it. Verse 3. A people that provoke me to anger continually to my face. Isn't that something? Elohim is saying, when you do things because using your own thoughts, your own justification, taking matters into your own hand and doing it the way you want to do it, regardless of what the book says, he says that you provoke him to anger to his face. That's like you going in front of somebody that you don't like, but haven't done anything to you, but you just don't like them. Or maybe they did something to you, and, you know, now you have time to think about it. So the next time you see them, you go in there and say, you know what? F you. I'm not going to use that word. F you. You B word. You SOB. Provoking them to their face. Knowing all the while it's going to bring about some hostility. Elohim is saying the same thing to us. When we reject his word and walk in the ways of the heathen, he says, you're provoking me to anger to my face. So now it's going to be war for you. Evil is never going to leave your life. So all the things that are happening in your life, you can bet for sure none of that's going to change. It's just going to get worse. You think it's bad now, it's going to get a hell of a lot worse. You think you're having hard time now paying your bills? Elohim said you ain't going to be able to pay any of those bills. You think you don't like living in the projects or assisted living housing or the Section 8 housing. Elohim say, no, when I finish with you, you're going to be living in the FEMA camp, if not outdoors altogether. This is coming to all of you who want to continue in your rebellion. Because you're going to see the fierce anger of Elohim is what Isaiah is foretelling us as we're here to experience it and see it with our own eyes. It goes on, and I'll read to you again. A people that provoke me to anger continually. In other words, they won't stop to my face. And they sacrifice in the gardens. You know what the gardens are? The gardens, in this case, is groves. In other words, you're participating in things that are used to celebrate Baal worshiping. Baal, demonic, the Baphomet. The half human, half goat, half male, half female. Transgenderism. Again, all the letters, LBTQ, I don't know all the damn letters now, T, and who knows what we add. Those are the gardens he's talking about, the groves, including your churches, including your religion. Those are considered gardens as well. It's where people go and they flock to worship or they embrace to celebrate. The gardens. And burn incense upon altars of brick. And then verse 4 says, which remain among the graves. The graves. What did this holiday have in common with the graveyard? He says graves. You heard me talk about Halloween and graves. And we all know that you can go look on people's houses as far as their decor. You're going to see Frankensteins and Draculas, dead things. You're going to see mummies. You're going to see tombstones. Right? You're going to see skulls. You're going to see jack-o'-lanterns. Evil things everywhere. The grave where dead things are. He said that's what they're going to celebrate at. That's what they're going to be drawn into. They're going to be led that way. That's what these holidays are for. To lead you to death. To destruction. To eternal damnation. That's what they're there for. You think it's to celebrate and to enjoy yourselves. No, it's just the opposite of what you think. That's why we don't use the word God anymore, because we know the word God is the same word as dog in reverse. Amen? That's why we don't use it, because we know better now. They reverse it on us. They replace it. That's why many of our people think that Israel is a land versus a people. We think that Ish are the people of the book when Israelites are the people of the book. Everything is done in reverse. Everything is done in disguise, masquerading it, pretending to be. Remember Revelations 2 and 9, I know them who say they are Jews, but they are not. I know them who claim to be Jews, Revelation 2 and 9 and 3 and 9, who claim to be Jews, but they're not. They are the synagogue of the devil. Isn't Halloween about masquerading? Isn't it about masquerading? Putting on costumes, pretending, acting out certain role play, wicked role play. And somebody said, well, I'm going to put it on angels. Don't you know that the angels that you're imitating are wicked as well? Made up by men. That's not Elohim's description of the watchers who are still holding their rightful place until Elohim tells them to come back, to draw back. That's not what the watchers, the fallen ones came up with all that evil. Babies with wings and Valentine's Day cupids and all that foolishness, including the hearts. Just so you know. If you go back and you look at the origins of Valentine's and Valentine's Day, you would never want to participate in that ever again. If you really looked it up and say, oh, crap, I didn't know this is what that actually means. I thought it meant love. Well, they're masquerading and telling you it means love, when they know it means just the opposite. It really is a signal for pedophilia. It was created for men to have sex with children. Did you know that? And you can go back and look at most of these so-called holidays, and you look at the origins of them. Christmas, for example, was called Saturnalia. You know what they did? On the 7 days or the 12 days, whatever before so-called Christmas, December the 25th, leading up to that. Oh, I'm going to tell you what they did. They killed your people, our people. We were paraded around the cities of Rome and slaughtered up until that 12th day, and they worked their way. The 12 days of Christmas, my truth. Remember that? Go look at the origins of that. They should have said on the 12th day, I killed a bunch of Israelites. And I killed more and more as we got to the final day, Saturnalia. And then I tried to kill them all. And they're still trying to kill us all by pushing us into a place of anger before Elohim to save themselves. But he says, among the graves, he said they lodge, L-O-D-G-E, in the monuments. Statues. That's another word for monuments. They you know, these big statues of Caesar Borgia, who the world calls Jesus. These monuments of George Washington, these monuments of Abraham Lincoln, these monuments of whoever, Martin Luther King, all of them. All these monuments that signal the Statue of Liberty. All of these monuments that says, oh, it's about embracing, when it really is about debauchery. It's about an abomination. Making images of men for people to bow down and honor these men. As though they were Elohim. Oh, I know you don't agree with it, but you don't have to agree with it. Well, you can disagree with it, but just because you disagree with it doesn't make it to be a lie. That's why the book said you shall know the truth. Or we were taught that, you know, my people, I would open their eyes up. That's Isaiah taught that. Yeshua supposedly said it too. But Isaiah definitely said, eyes to see but can't see, ears to hear but they cannot hear. In other words, when the truth comes, they reject the truth. When the truth is in front of their eyes, they are blinded because of their own thoughts and their own selfishness, their own self-righteousness. They want to do it their way, the hell with the way of the Torah. And y'all say you can do it. But my anger with you is not going to change. So in other words, your situation is going to get progressively worse. And you talking about this food chain disruption, the supplies that are drying up. My friend, this is only going to get a whole lot worse than what you're experiencing right now. A lot of you have no idea because you're not in environments where you can actually see it happening every day. I am. I see it in the book, and then I see it in real life every day. And it is coming, and it's coming much, much faster than many of you can prepare yourself for. You need a lifeline, and you don't even know it. You're drowning. It's flooding. But because it's like a slow ball flood, you don't even know you're about to drown. It's, you know the metaphor where they say it's not a metaphor, but they say you put a frog in a pot of cold water, you turn the heat up slow. Let it get warm, warm, warm. The frog will never try to get out of there. It will never leave out of there because over a period of time, he does not respond. And by the time it's time for him to respond, in other words, when the water is boiling, it's too late for him. That's exactly what's happening to many of our people. The heathens too, because they don't know either. Because in their own wickedness, they're blind. So it's the blind leading the blind. They're blind and they're leading our people as well. So it's the blind leading the blind. They're going to celebrate it too. And, you know, so their doom and their destruction that's coming upon this earth is also, which was not intended for us. Hell was not intended for Israel. But the destruction that was intended for them, many of us are going to go that way as well. In other words, it's going to happen to many of our people, unfortunately. 2/3, according to the book. The fire is coming. Death and destruction. Famine is coming. Disease is coming. Famine is another word for hunger. Disease is coming. Wars are coming. Brother against brother is coming. Mother against daughter is coming. Father against sons is coming. Death is coming. The winter is coming. And I'm not talking about the season either. I'm talking about the death. That winter kills things. That's why the winter season is when things die. Spring is when Well, winter season is when things are dead. Fall is when they start to die. We're going into winter. We see in the fall, winter is coming. So death is coming to many of our people. And unfortunately, some of us are in position to prevent it from happening in our homes, amongst our loved ones. But like the insane person, you won't do anything about it. You know what the book says. You're not supposed to participate in these things. You're supposed to separate yourself from these things. But you do it anyway. Because the temptation, the lust of it, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, your pride won't let you just say no. I'm not doing it. It won't let you do it. But it's because of you, not them, you. So you can blame them all you want for the mayhem and destruction. Elohim said, you're rebellious. That's why his anger with you goes on and on and on. His anger goes on with us on and on and on. Why? Because as he said earlier, my people who call by a different name. In other words, he said they're damn fools. Chasing after the ghost. Chasing after the goblin. Chasing after food and money. Things that depreciate. Things that have no true value in the next world. Loving things that can't love them back. Halloween can't love you back. Your Halloween party can't love you back. Your candy, your trick-or-treat can't love you back. But it doesn't matter to you, does it? You don't care because of your rebellion. Although the book tells you not to do it. Let's go a little farther. He said the monuments. And then he takes it to the next level. And I hope you go and read this for yourself. Again, I'm reading Isaiah chapter 65, and I'm at verse 4. Really go from 1 to 4. And this is I am. This is Elohim talking. I'm just repeating. I'm just reading what he wrote, or what he had Isaiah to write, to warn us, them and us. The book says Elohim is the Alpha and the Omega. What that means is the beginning of the end. Some people, well, that was a long time ago. That's old. Well, how is it old when Elohim says, I am Elohim. I change not. When somebody says they never change, that means they never change. So how does it become old? The words are old when he says, I never change. My word will last forever. Yeshua even warned that your heaven and earth will pass before one jot or tittle of the law, or Elohim's word will pass away. He said heaven and earth will pass away. Heaven and earth still here. So why are you letting people tell you that this is passed away or done away with? Why are you listening to the liars when you have the book to tell you that they're lying to you? Is it because of your pride? Because you want to do what you want to do? Your pride. Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, the pride of a man cause him or her not to obey instructions of the Creator to the saving of their own souls. Isn't that sad? That is truly, truly sad. But at the end of the day, we can only warn. We can only warn them. We can only warn. I can only warn you. But many of you are going to go do it. You're going to listen to this video, and come Halloween, come Sunday, you're going to be right out there trick-or-treating. Or you say, well, I ain't going to trick-or-treat, but probably not going to do it. You're going to end up giving them their tricks. Tricks. Magic. Wizardry. Tricks. Magicians. Right? Tricks. Wizards. Magician and a wizard, same person. Witches. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the first one of them all? Sorcery. I ain't going out there, but if they come knocking on my door, well, if you participate in any way, a little leaven levels the whole lump. Our book tells us that it's the small things that get people in trouble. It says the small foxes that spoil the vineyards. Many of you think that it's innocent. Elohim says it's not innocent. It's wicked. But let us continue on, praise Yah. He says they lodge in the monuments. In other words, they're attracted to the monuments. Wherever the monuments are, you can find them. The churches, that's a monument. The steeples, that's a monument. The cross, that's a monument. The Star of David, another monument. All monuments. Your altars, the altar that your preacher stand behind and preach, that's a monument. The big chair he sits in, that's another monument. The pews that you're sitting in, monuments. It's where you sit to pay homage to devils. But you think they're angels of light. But they're wolves who have covered themselves in sheep's clothing. And you should know that by now. What difference is your so-called church making in the community where your church is located? Do you think that Elohim will come in the presence of anything and nothing changes? No, nothing changes because he isn't there. But if you can't figure that out now, maybe there's a reason that you can't figure it out. Maybe you already prejudge. In essence, maybe Elohim has reprobated your mind. Again, as some of you will still participate in All Hallows Day or whatever the hell they call it. Well, I know you call it Harvest Sunday. I get it. So you're going to put sugar on the shit and then say it's good for food. No, it's still Halloween. You change the name, but you can't change the origin. He says, continuing in verse 4, these are the same people, talking about his people, our people, Israel. He said, these are the same people who practice that. He said, these are the people who still eat pig meat, pork. He says, in our rebellion, we're eating ribs, pork chop, hot sausage, bacon, pork sausage, ham. Come on, y'all can help me. Pork shoulders, pork feet, pig lip. He said, these are the same rebellious ones who eat pig flesh. Go figure. Pigs full of trichinella worms. These worms get into your body. And guess what else they do? They start to mess with your brain. They start to eat you from inside out. Why so many of you have high blood pressure. To the point it kills many of our people. One of the top 10 killers of our people is the consequences of high blood pressure. From their diets, from what they eat. And we are always told by anybody who's got any damn sense, don't eat pork. Pork is causing your high blood pressure. You know, I love pork. I ain't giving up my bacon. Okay, don't give it up. You're an eater of swine flesh and you're an abomination. And you're angering Elohim continually because you refuse to stop eating it. If you don't think it's wrong to eat it, look what the next sentence says. And the broth of abominable things in their vessels. In other words, he says, eating pork is an abominable food that you're putting in your body. Your body is the vessel. Abominable things in their vessels. And what did he say in Revelation 21:8? What was going to happen to those who commit abomination? They would what? They would die the second death. In other words, they're going to be cast into the lake of fire. But yet you let some wicked preacher tell you you can eat anything just as long as you pray. Elohim is not the author of confusion. There's no way he would say over here, and he never changes, but somehow because of Jesus and Paul and Peter, who tell you, oh, it's okay now, you let them tell you Elohim is a liar. Because you let them tell you that what you're reading here in 65, verse 4 of Isaiah, is not true, or somehow or another, the man who never changes has changed. Our creator who never changed, I am Elohim, I change not, the one who never changes, you're letting them tell you he changed. So in essence, you're letting them tell you he's a liar, and you're good with it. You're good with it. Wow. 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 Look, our book said, come out from among them. Be you separate. Touch not the unclean things. Keep the Torah if you don't want to be destroyed in the end. If you want your family to survive in the end, keep the Torah. The Torah-less are going to burn. You can find that in Matthew chapter 7, around verse 20, 21, 22. You can find it in Revelation chapter, I want to say 22, around verses 13, 14, and other places too. Those who did not keep the Torah will be damned. Participating in Halloween and the rest of these, grave, monument, which means monumental, continual. They do it every year as a ritual, like cults do. All of these things are an abomination to our people in the eyes of Elohim, including your body, I might add. That is the temple. That's the vessel. So not only should you be doing them externally, you shouldn't be doing anything to yourself internally. That's why a man shouldn't be sleeping with a man. A woman should be sleeping with a woman. And you damn sure shouldn't be saying, my body, my choice, when it comes down to killing babies. And also, when you start talking about your vessel, not putting filthy pig in your body, you shouldn't be putting that filthy stuff that's in that jab in your body. Go read up some of this. Go read what's in some of the stuff that's in the jab. Go read what's in that stuff for yourself. Don't listen to me. Go read it for yourself. If you got wisdom and you're supposed to be intelligent, you're supposed to be smart, you will say nobody can tell you what to do. Okay, then why don't you go find out for yourself so you don't have to listen to guys in women like myself. I mean, I'm not a damn woman, but you don't have to listen. What I mean by that, I'd be damned if I was a man acting like a woman. That's why I say I'm not a damn woman. I'd be damned if I was a man acting like a woman. That would be effeminate. Homosexuality, that's an abomination before Elohim. So our sisters are blessed. And women are in their right mind. They're no different than men in terms of how they can analyze and do their own research and draw the right conclusion on matters. So do your research, if you don't believe me, or not. But you can believe one thing. Everything in this book is true. Everything in this book. Go look it up. Go to Proverbs chapter 30. I want to say verse 9. Let's go there and then we're going to end this message. So for those who want to question the word, let's see what Solomon, the wisest man that ever walked on the earth, had to say about the word of Elohim. Let's go take a look. All right, go to Proverbs chapter 30. Praise Yah. Like I said before, don't take my word for it, but you ought to take Elohim's word for it. Proverbs chapter 30. Let's go to verse 4. 30 and 4. Who has ascended up into heaven or descended? That's a question. Who has gathered the wind in his fist? Another question. Who has bound the waters in his garment? Another question. Who has established all the ends of this earth? The ends of the earth. A ball does not have ends on it. A ball is a continual. We live on a earth that is flat, that has ends. Believe what you want. If you want to believe those liars from NASA, then believe them. We have a dome over this earth called a firmament, and none of them can go beyond. That's why Bezos and that Virgin guy and all these guys are going up there, Mars, because they're trying to see if they can find a way to penetrate it. Because of CERN, they think they've pushed the hole through it. They ain't pushed a damn thing through it. What they have is allowed all those other wicked forces to come down upon us, to bring this thing to a close, which you would call the lifetime of man. But he says, who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's, with an S, name? Many of us. Israel, that's his sons. Judah, Gad, Naphtali, Simeon, Levi, Reuben, Dan, Benjamin, Joseph, and a couple others that I'm sure I left out. And it goes on, verse 5. Every word of Elohim is pure. You know what pure is? That means that it is uncorrupted. You cannot corrupt his word by adding to it. When they try to add to it, tell you it don't matter, when the book says it matters, that's corruption. That they are liars. They tell you it doesn't matter what you eat, they're lying. Because they're saying to you that the word is not pure, like solid gold. Pure. Purity means it's pure. That means it's uncorruptible. says the word is uncorruptible, even though they try to corrupt it by adding things to it. They still will never succeed in it. It says every word of Elohim is pure. It is a shield, in other words, a protection to them that put their trust in him. That's why we, DFG and many others, that's why we teach the word. That's why we do our best to live by the word. And that's why we never are in rebellion against this word. Because it's a shield for us. It protects us. It's our salvation. Not white Jesus or the black one either. Our salvation is the shield of the word. Not some man who died supposedly on a cross, which the book says got hung on a tree. Well, ain't nothing strange about that. They've been hanging us on trees since time beginning. Amen? In other words, wouldn't you agree with that last statement I just made? He says it's a shield to them that put their trust in him. If you put your trust in him, it'll protect you, and you'll see the lies you're being told about these holidays and how it's okay to do them as long as you do it in the church, or as long as you don't put on a costume, as long as you don't have decoration, but you can still participate. After all, it's for the kids. So the kids are getting rich then? If it's for the kids, how are the kids benefiting monetarily? How are the kids benefiting educationally? If it's for the kids, how are the kids benefiting from their health? Because eating candy and junk is not healthy for a child to eat. And taking your hard-earned money and giving it to the rich is a foolish act on your part. How are your kids benefiting from that? I'm just asking. I'm just asking for a friend. No. These are lies. These are deception. You can put stuff in your body, because at the end of the day, you know, if you can't afford beef and eat pork. I know a woman who watched 7 of her sons. I read about a woman who watched 7 of her sons, that's 2nd Maccabees, 7 of her sons who got slaughtered for not eating pig, not eating pork. And a king killed them because they refused to bow down and participate or go along with his mandate, like Biden's mandate, this government's mandate, the world's government mandates. She watched all 7 of her sons get killed, murdered, because they refused to eat pig. And guess what? She refused to eat it too, and she was murdered. And some of you sisters are cooking this stuff in pots and feeding it to your family, and you claim you love your children, and you cooking that, and you giving that to them to eat, and you think that's an act of love? Sister, let me tell you something. That's an act of hatred. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I'm not sorry. Sorry, but not sorry. Our book says you should know the truth so you can stop doing the lies. That's what he said. You should know the truth. The truth will set you free. That simply means you will start doing the truth and stop obeying lies. That's all it means. So will you stop obeying the lies? Will you stop feeding your children abominable foods, your husbands? Many of you men, will you stop cooking in your restaurants and in your little one-stops and your grilling on these wicked holidays? Will you pull that food off the grill? Start finding foods, from the earth, natural foods to feed your children so that you can get healthier, so you can get stronger, so their brains won't become brain damaged for eating things full of worms and what are the word, other words, worms and parasites. Some of you will, but most of you won't. But if you want to know what the book said about your holidays and about what you put in your body, whether it's in a liquid form, you know what I mean, or in a physical form, tangible meats, will you stop? Your soul depends on it, the decision that you make. I'll end this message this way, sisters, brothers. What does it profit a man to have everything that man wants to have, or woman, and yet they're going to go to hell, and they can take none of that stuff with them? Choose to stay who you will serve. But as for me, and those who hearken to Elohim's message from my mouth, We're going to serve Yah. DFG, talk to you later. Bye now.